Alone, you may move fast, but with your brothers, you move forever. This world doesn't reward the lone wolf. It respects the pack. Not because they are loud, not because they are strong, but because they are unbreakable together. Look around you. Every war was won with brothers. Every kingdom was protected by brothers. Every revolution sparked by brotherhood. When life hits you in the gut, when your back is against the wall, when the world screams you're finished, a brother steps in and says no. We fight. That is everything. Brotherhood is power in multiples. When you walk alone, your strength is limited to your 2 hands, your 2 legs, and your 1 mind. But when you walk with your brothers, you multiply your strength by every man who walks beside you. Your fists become a legion. Your mind becomes a council of warriors. Your heart beats in rhythm with others who refuse to let you fall. Think about it. How many times have you faced something in life that almost broke you? That moment when you were drowning in stress, failure, loneliness. Maybe you were betrayed. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe your family didn't believe in you. In that moment, you felt like the world was against you, like the weight was too heavy. Now imagine if a brother stepped in, not to solve it for you, but to remind you that you don't have to carry it alone. Suddenly, the burden doesn't feel impossible. Suddenly, you're not crushed. You're climbing again. Real power doesn't scream. It doesn't flash. Real power is quiet confidence. It's when you know that if life throws a mountain at you, you and your brothers will climb it together. One man chisels the path, one anchors the rope, one pulls you up when you slip. That is power, multiplied power. In a world that worships independence and self-made success, we forget that every legend had a tribe. Even the strongest warrior needs someone watching his back. Every storm becomes manageable when there are others rowing with you. Imagine being in a small boat in a storm. Alone, you can row hard, but you'll tire. The waves will beat you down. But if you've got brothers on each side, rowing in sync, yelling, "We're not going down," suddenly you're unstoppable. You're not fighting to survive, you're pushing through. Life will test you. It will drag you into dark corners where your mind becomes your enemy. That voice that whispers, "Give up, you're alone in this." But when you've got real brothers, that voice gets drowned out. Because a brother doesn't just motivate you. He reminds you of who you are when you forget. He throws your mistakes in your face, not to hurt you, but to push you. He says, "You're better than this. Don't you dare settle. We rise together, or we die trying." You see, power in multiples isn't just about having more people. It's about having the right people. Not the ones who clap when you win, but the ones who bleed with you in silence. The ones who tell you, "You're acting soft," when you're slipping. The ones who make you train when you feel lazy. The ones who hold you to a standard that doesn't bend for comfort. These are not just friends, they're mirrors. They show you who you truly are and who you could become. And here's the truth. Jealousy doesn't exist in real brotherhood. If your brother wins, you celebrate like it's your victory. If he falls, you don't step over him, you lift him. Imagine a world where every man did that for the ones next to him. We'd build empires, not egos. We'd chase purpose, not popularity. We wouldn't compete. We'd complete each other. In your daily life, think of the workplace. You can either hoard your knowledge and try to rise alone, or you can build with others share what you know, elevate each other. People fear that if they help someone else shine, their own light will fade. But light doesn't work like that. A candle loses nothing by lighting another. In fact, together they burn brighter. Or look at the gym. One man lifting weights alone might push his limits. But when he's got a spotter, when he's got a brother screaming, "On more rep, don't quit," he reaches a new level. That's the difference. Alone, you plateau. With brothers, you evolve. Think about sports. No championship is won by one man. The greatest players in the world still need teammates, coordination, chemistry, loyalty, brotherhood. Talent alone can win games, but brotherhood wins legacies. This principle applies everywhere, in business, in relationships, in life. Surround yourself with warriors, not talkers, not pretenders, warriors. Men who don't fear pressure, who thrive under weight, who believe in something bigger than themselves. When you find those men, never let them go. Pour into them. Push them. Grow together. Because one man can spark a flame, but a brotherhood can start a wildfire. So stop trying to do everything alone. Pride will isolate you. Ego will weaken you. But brotherhood will carry you when your legs give out. It will speak life into your bones when you're too tired to breathe. It will make you dangerous in the best way. Not because of your own strength, but because your strength is multiplied by every man who refuses to let you fall. Brotherhood is loyalty without language. It's a bond that doesn't need to be spoken, because it's felt deep in the gut, in the silence, in the stillness between chaos. It's the nod before the fight, the glance in the mirror before the storm, the presence of someone who doesn't need to ask what's wrong, because he already knows. Loyalty in brotherhood is not defined by words, it's defined by actions. And often, it's the actions no one sees. Think about the moments in your life where you felt like giving up. Not the ones you posted online, not the ones you bragged about surviving, but the quiet nights, the empty days, when it felt like the world had forgotten you, and yet somehow someone checked in. Not with a long paragraph, not with a deep speech, but a simple, "Yo, you good?" And that one message kept your heart beating. That's loyalty. That's brotherhood without language. Words are cheap. Anyone can say, "I got you." Anyone can post, "Bro for life." But when the storm hits, who's still standing next to you when everything goes dark? Who's pulling up when your phone's been silent for days? That's the test. Because real brothers don't wait for permission. They show up even when you don't call, even when you don't reply. They know something's wrong just by the shift in your tone, the way you haven't laughed in a while, the energy you give off. They read you like a book, even when the pages are blank. Loyalty in brotherhood doesn't need explanations. There's no, "Why are you doing this for me?" It's just understood. Because real ones don't count favors. They don't keep score. If you're bleeding, they hand you the bandage. If you're falling, they become the ground beneath your feet. And they don't announce it. They just do it. Look at the construction workers who eat lunch together every day without saying more than 10 words, yet would throw hands for each other in a heartbeat. Look at soldiers in war zones who don't speak the same language, but trust each other with their lives. Look at the two kids who grow up on the same street, sharing broken dreams and one slice of bread, and grow into men who would take a bullet for each other without hesitation. That's brotherhood. That's unspoken loyalty. In a world addicted to attention and fake love, brotherhood is rare. It's sacred. It's not about loud gestures or social media stories. It's the guy who covers for you when you're late to work. The one who pays your bill without making you feel small. The one who doesn't flinch when your darkest truth spills out at 2 a.m. He listens. He absorbs it. And he stays. No judgment. No retreat. Just presence. You ever had a friend who stood beside you in a room full of people who doubted you? Not because he had all the facts, but because he believes in who you are. That's loyalty. He doesn't need to defend you with paragraphs. His presence alone says, I stand with him. And that unspoken message is louder than 1,000 arguments. Or maybe you were in trouble. Real trouble. Not the type that gets fixed with a text, but the kind that could break your name, your path, your life. And someone stood up for you. Not because you were perfect. Not because you were right. But because he knew your heart. And he refused to let one mistake define you. He fought for you when everyone else backed away. That's the kind of loyalty only brotherhood can produce. Daily life is filled with silent tests. Moments where loyalty is tested not in speeches, but in stillness. When a brother sees you struggling but doesn't embarrass you, he helps in silence. When he senses you're broke but never asks, just pays for the food. When he shows up to your event even though you forgot to invite him. That's the language of brotherhood. It doesn't need sound. It needs soul. And loyalty isn't always convenient. Sometimes it's messy, uncomfortable. It means showing up at 3 a.m. when you've got work in the morning. It means holding secrets that could burn down reputations and never dropping them, even when you're angry. It means being there not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Real brotherhood operates on instincts. It's the guy who sees you start to spiral and doesn't walk away. He steps in, not with lectures, but with grounding. Maybe it's a slap of truth. Maybe it's just sitting beside you in silence. But whatever it is, it's exactly what you needed. Not what you wanted, but what your soul needed to reset. You ever notice how some of the most powerful friendships don't involve constant talking? Weeks can pass, even months. But the connection is untouched, because loyalty doesn't rust with time. It sharpens, it deepens. And when you finally link back up, it's as if not a second passed, because the bond was never built on conversation. It was built on presence, consistency, and truth. In brotherhood, loyalty is not about being perfect. It's about being permanent. Being that one person who doesn't flinch, who doesn't fold, who doesn't fake. Loyalty without language means that even when your mouth can't speak the pain, your brother feels it. Even when you're too ashamed to ask for help, he offers it. Even when you push everyone away, he doesn't take it personally. He stays. Because that's what loyalty looks like when it's real, when it's unshakable, when it's born from fire, not comfort. True brotherhood sharpens you, not by pampering your weakness, but by forging your strength. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to face. It's not soft when you're slipping, it's steel. It doesn't stroke your ego when you're wrong. It confronts you, because real brothers don't let each other drown in silence. In life, there are people who will cheer for your comfort. They'll applaud your laziness, celebrate your distractions, and let you stay in the pit because they don't want to risk losing your approval. but a true brother. He'll snatch you out of that pit with brutal honesty, even if it makes you hate him in the moment, because he's not there to please you. He's there to build you. A real brother is a mirror and a hammer. He reflects who you are, and he reshapes who you could become. When you're slacking off, he won't ignore it. He'll call it out, not to break you, but to wake you up. He'll say, "What happened to your discipline? You used to be hungry." And in that moment, his words cut deeper than any insult, because they're true, and you feel it in your chest, in your gut. Because deep down, you knew you were slipping, but no one had the courage to say it, except him. Imagine you're chasing a dream, and everyone around you is nodding their heads, saying, "You got this," while watching you waste your time. But your brother, he'll look you in the eye and say, "You're lying to yourself. You say you want success, but you're scrolling more than you're grinding." And it stings, but it saves you, because someone finally cared enough to cut through your excuses. That's what sharpening feels like. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. When iron sharpens iron, sparks fly. It's not a peaceful process. It's pressure, it's friction, but it creates an edge that can cut through anything. Brotherhood works the same way. You're not always going to agree. You're not always going to smile. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's heated. But when the fire cools, you're better, sharper, more precise. Because someone had the courage to grind away your dullness. Think about the gym. If your workout partner lets you quit after 5 reps when you could have done 10, he's not sharpening you, he's softening you. But a real brother, he's the one who yells, "2 more," when your arms are trembling, and somehow you push through. Not because you believed in yourself, but because he believed for you. And that belief became your fuel. In life, you need people who challenge your limits, who don't let you hide behind fear, who see your potential and demand you rise to meet it. That's true brotherhood. It's the friend who tells you, "Bro, you're better than this job. Stop settling. Apply for what you really want." It's the one who says, "You keep chasing temporary highs. When are you going to start building something that lasts?" And yes, it's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your choices, but it also forces you to grow. A brother sharpens you by holding you accountable. Not just to your goals, but to your values. If he sees you betraying your own principles, he won't stay silent. He'll remind you of who you said you were. He'll say, "That's not you." Don't lose yourself trying to fit in with people who don't even know who they are. That kind of confrontation isn't criticism, it's protection. It's love wrapped in fire. You ever had someone push you so hard that you wanted to quit? But later, you realized that moment made you stronger. That's what a real brother does. He's the storm before your breakthrough. He's the pressure before your rise. When you're doubting yourself, he won't feed your fears. He'll crush them. He'll say, "You've come too far to give up now. I don't care how tired you are. Finish what you started." And it's not just about success. It's about character. When you're out of line, disrespecting people, letting ego take over, he'll pull you aside. Not to shame you, but to center you. "This isn't you," he'll say. "Don't let anger steal your peace. Don't let pride kill your future." And in that moment, you remember who you are. Because he never forgot. Real sharpening happens when someone refuses to let you be average, when they demand more from you, not because they want control, but because they see greatness in you that you're too scared to claim, and they won't stop until you rise. This world is full of noise, fake applause, and shallow friendships, but a brother who sharpens you, that's rare. That's gold. That's the person who will sit you down and say, "You're not a victim, you're a warrior. Now act like it." And suddenly, your back straightens, your eyes focus, and you remember why you started. Brotherhood that sharpens isn't always pretty. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it offends. But if you've got someone in your life who's willing to challenge you, push you, correct you, and still stand by your side, you've got something priceless. You've got someone who would rather wound your ego than watch your potential rot in silence. And that, right there, is what turns a man into a legend. Of brotherhood is the cure to isolation, not just the physical kind, but the mental and emotional isolation that eats away at you when you're surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone. The world is noisy, but empty, full of followers, but lacking in connection. In a crowd, you can still feel like a ghost, scrolling through endless feeds, liking pictures, dropping comments, but inside numb. Your mind screams and nobody hears. Your soul aches and nobody asks. This is the silent disease of modern life, being unseen in plain sight. And the only thing strong enough to break that silence is brotherhood. You ever sat in a room full of people and felt like no one really knows you? They laugh at your jokes, maybe they hang out with you, but do they truly understand what keeps you up at night? Do they know your fears, your failures, the pain you carry behind your eyes when you fake a smile? Real brotherhood is the one that sees through that mask. It doesn't ask for performance. It doesn't need you to pretend. It sits with you in your silence and says, "I'm not going anywhere." You could have thousands of followers, hundreds of contacts, but if you don't have at least one person who checks in on your soul, not your status, you're isolated. And that isolation is a slow poison. It makes you doubt yourself. It whispers lies. Nobody cares. You're alone. You're weak. But a brother is the voice that drowns those lies out with truth. He says, "I see you. I got you. And you're stronger than you think." Real brotherhood shows up when it's inconvenient, not when it's easy or trendy. When you've messed up, when you're at your lowest, when you feel ashamed to even be seen, he shows up, not to judge, but to lift, not to fix you, but to sit with you. He doesn't say, "Get over it." He says, "We'll get through it." You know what's wild? Some of the strongest people you meet, the ones who look like they've got it all together, are fighting battles in silence. The gym freak with the six-pack might be breaking on the inside. The top performer in school might be screaming behind their confidence. The tough guy who never cries might be carrying decades of pain. Brotherhood pulls the curtain back. It creates a space where you don't have to wear armor all the time. It says, "You don't have to be strong for me. You just have to be real." There's a power in knowing you're not alone. Imagine walking through darkness, unsure of where the next step leads, terrified of falling, and then a hand grabs yours, firm, steady, not afraid. And that hand says, "Keep walking, I'm with you." Suddenly, the darkness isn't as heavy. The fear doesn't paralyze. Because someone chose to walk with you, not ahead of you, not behind you, but beside you. Isolation tells you to hide your weakness. Brotherhood says, your weakness doesn't scare me. Isolation tells you to smile through your pain. Brotherhood says, let's talk about it. Isolation says, you're broken. Brotherhood says, you're human, and we all bleed. It's that honest connection that saves lives. Because sometimes all someone needs is to hear, you're not the only one. Think about a fire. One log burns for a little while, but eventually the flame dies. Add another log, and they keep each other burning. The heat feeds off the unity. The light survives because of togetherness. People are the same. One man alone will eventually burn out. The fire fades, but 2, 3, 4. Together, they stay lit. Not by being perfect, but by being present. I've seen men break down from the weight of silent suffering, carrying burdens they never share because society told them. Be strong. But strength isn't silence. True strength is having someone to lean on when your knees buckle. It's having a brother who notices when your smile is forced, who says, what's really going on? And doesn't settle until you tell the truth. There's nothing weak about needing someone. Needing real connection doesn't make you fragile. It makes you human. And anyone pretending they don't need that is lying to themselves. Because even the strongest lions roll in packs. Even warriors heal in tribe. Even kings need counsel. We live in a world where people die of loneliness while living in crowded cities, where suicides happen silently because no one checked in, where people laugh online but cry in the dark. Brotherhood is the antidote. It doesn't need a stage or a spotlight. It just needs honesty, loyalty, and presence. It's the friend who calls when everyone else is too busy. It's the man who says, I don't care what you did, I'm still here. It's the bond that doesn't need validation, because it's built on something deeper than surface approval. When you have brotherhood, you no longer suffer in silence. You heal in conversation. You rise in connection. You face your demons with backup. And suddenly, life doesn't feel so heavy. Not because the load got lighter, but because now you're not carrying it alone. You're only as strong as the man beside you. Think about that. It's not just about how much weight you can lift, how many hours you can grind, or how many obstacles you can face alone. True strength is about the people who walk with you, the ones who stand beside you when things get tough, the ones who see you when you're struggling and refuse to let you fall. I know you've heard it before, you can do it alone, but that's a lie. Strength isn't just individual, it's collective. There's no such thing as a self-made man. There's always someone who helped, who pushed, who believed, who picked you up when you stumbled. I don't care how independent you think you are. You're only as strong as the man beside you. Let's break it down with a real life example. Think of two people lifting a heavy object. One person might be strong, might have the muscles, but alone, they'll struggle. They'll get tired. They'll get frustrated, maybe even give up. Now, add another person beside them. Someone who's just as committed, just as focused. Together, their combined strength makes the impossible possible. When one starts to waver, the other steps in. That's how brotherhood works. That's how true strength works. We lift each other up. We push each other forward. When you're working towards something big, something meaningful, you'll hit a wall. It happens to everyone. You can have all the talent in the world, all the determination, But there are moments when you're exhausted, when doubt creeps in, when you feel like giving up. That's when you need the man beside you. You need someone who sees your potential when you can't see it yourself. Someone who will grab your hand and pull you through when you're too tired to move forward. I've seen this firsthand. A group of people who are all working hard, grinding day in and day out. But one man is struggling, hitting a rough patch. His energy's down. His motivation's shot. But his brother, the one standing beside him, he doesn't let him give up. He says, "I know it's tough, but we're in this together. I've got your back." And that simple sentence, it can make all the difference. It's the reminder that you're not alone in your battle. It's the reassurance that someone believes in you, even when you've lost faith in yourself. That's the power of brotherhood. Strength isn't measured by how much you can do by yourself. It's measured by how much you can endure with the help of others. Life isn't a solo journey, and trying to make it one will only leave you isolated, exhausted, and defeated. You need someone to help carry the load when it gets too heavy. You need someone to push you forward when you feel stuck. You need someone who won't let you quit, who won't let you settle for less than what you're capable of. You ever try to run a race by yourself? Sure, you might finish. But will you give it everything you've got? Will you push yourself to the limits, to the point where you're exhausted, where your muscles are screaming for rest? Now, imagine running that race with someone beside you. Someone who's just as driven, just as hungry. When you start slowing down, they're right there, matching your pace, keeping you in the game. Their strength becomes yours, and together, you finish that race stronger than you would have alone. That's the power of a partner, of someone who refuses to let you fail. There's a reason that some of the most successful people in the world surround themselves with a team, a support system, a group of people who push them, challenge them, and keep them grounded. They understand that success is never a solo mission. It's a collective effort. It's about the man beside you, the one who encourages you when you're down, who teaches you when you're lost, who fights for you when you're too tired to fight for yourself. You can be a powerhouse, you can be a titan, but when you stand alone, there's always a limit to how far you can go. It's when you're standing with others that you realize your true strength. When you link arms with those who believe in you. When you surround yourself with people who push you to be better. That's when you tap into a power that's limitless. It's the power of unity, the power of brotherhood, the power of knowing that no matter how tough life gets, you won't have to face it alone. I don't care how much you achieve, how many mountains you climb, or how much success you find. If you're standing alone, you're not truly strong. It's only when you've got someone beside you, pushing you, lifting you, carrying you when you can't walk on your own, that you become unstoppable. You'll be amazed at what you can do when you have the right person beside you. Someone who's there for the long haul. Someone who sees your struggles and your strength and still believes in you. The man beside you doesn't just make you stronger, he makes you bolder. He makes you believe in the impossible. When you doubt, he believes. When you fall, he picks you up. And when you're too weak to go on, he becomes the strength you didn't know you had. That's true strength. It's not about what you can do alone. It's about what you can achieve together. You're only as strong as the man beside you, and with the right person by your side, you're invincible. Brotherhood is the kind of bond that goes beyond blood, beyond the ties that tie you to your family by birth. It's a connection that survives the toughest storms, the deepest betrayals, and the harshest of times. Blood may fail you, but brotherhood never will. Sometimes the people you expect to be there for you, the ones who share your last name, may be the first to turn their backs when you need them most. And that's a tough pill to swallow. But here's the truth: brotherhood isn't defined by DNA. It's defined by loyalty, respect, and the willingness to stand by each other through thick and thin. Think about a time when you needed someone, when you were at your lowest, and the ones closest to you weren't there. Maybe they had their own lives to live, or maybe they just didn't understand. But then there was that friend, that person who wasn't connected to you by blood, but chose to step into your life and say, "I've got you." That's brotherhood. Blood can be shared, but the bonds of brotherhood are forged through choice. It's the choice to stand by someone, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the world tells you to let go. It's a bond that doesn't break when life gets tough. You know, when people say, family is everything, they often mean it in the context of people who share your last name, people you were born with. But I've seen families that fall apart. Blood relatives who can't stand each other, who fight, who don't support each other. And then I've seen men who aren't even related by blood come together and fight for each other like their lives depend on it. That's true brotherhood. It's when someone who didn't have to steps into your life and says, "You're my brother," and then proves it by being there for you when nobody else will. Brotherhood is the kind of bond that doesn't vanish when things get hard. When you face failure, when the pressure of life feels like it's too much to bear, brotherhood is there. It holds you up when you don't think you can stand anymore. You've heard the stories. People who've gone through unimaginable pain, who've lost everything, but through the support of their brothers, they rise again. It's not just about the good times, when everything is easy and everyone's smiling. It's about the bad times. The times when it seems like the world is against you, when you feel like giving up, and your brother pulls you back up and says, "We're not done yet." Take a look at any great success story, and you'll see that it's rarely ever a solo journey. The strongest individuals are often surrounded by people who believe in them, who refuse to let them quit when the odds seem impossible. Blood might fail, but brotherhood, true brotherhood, carries you through. Look at professional athletes. Behind every successful athlete, there's a team, a network of people who have their backs. And it's not just about what happens on the field. It's the late night conversations, the encouragement after a tough loss, the accountability when things go off track. These are the moments where brotherhood proves its worth. But it's not just about grand moments or massive achievements. It's in the small acts of loyalty, the everyday commitments that are easy to overlook. It's that phone call when you've been quiet for days, just to check in. It's the hand that reaches out when everyone else is too busy. It's the person who says, "I'm here for you," and means it. Those small moments are where brotherhood is truly forged. It's not always the big sacrifices that define brotherhood. Sometimes it's the small, quiet acts that make all the difference. I want you to think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you faced challenges that seemed impossible to overcome? How many times have you been alone, stuck in a situation where the weight of the world felt too heavy to bear? Now, think about the people who stepped in to help you, the ones who showed up, even when they had nothing to gain. Those people are the ones who have the power to lift you when you're down. That's brotherhood in action. And when you find those people, when you realize that your true brothers are the ones who stand by you through the storm, you realize that blood is just a word. The real family is the one you choose, the one who chooses you back. Brotherhood is built on shared experience, on mutual respect, and on the understanding that no matter what happens, you've got each other's backs. It's not perfect. It's not always easy, but it's real. It's the foundation that holds everything else together. And in a world where people come and go, where things change, and where life can feel so unpredictable, brotherhood is the anchor that keeps you grounded. It doesn't fail when the going gets tough. It doesn't turn its back when you stumble. It's the constant that keeps you moving forward, even when you feel like giving up. So, remember, this: blood may fail you, but brotherhood will never abandon you. The bonds of brotherhood are stronger than any family ties. It's the kind of bond that stands the test of time, that survives the worst moments, and that lifts you up when you can't lift yourself. You'll go through life, and you'll face challenges that seem insurmountable, but the strength of the brother beside you will carry you through. And that's the power of brotherhood. It's the kind of bond that stays when everything else fades. In the end, remember that life is never a solo mission. The greatest victories, the most profound successes, the moments that define you, those are never achieved in isolation. We were never meant to walk this journey alone. Brotherhood isn't just an abstract concept. It's the foundation of strength, growth, and resilience. It's the power of those who stand with you, not because they have to, but because they choose to. In a world where so many are focused on individual glory, real greatness lies in the bonds we build, the people we lift up, and the lives we touch along the way. You've heard it before. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. These words hold the deepest truth. It's not about how much you can do by yourself. It's about how much more you can accomplish when you have people by your side who truly have your back, who believe in your dreams, and who will push you to heights you never thought possible. The power of brotherhood isn't just about standing together in times of success, but about showing up when the storm is at its fiercest. It's about not letting each other fall, not letting each other fail. You rise together, or you fall together. There is no other way. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. These words remind us that no matter how hard life hits us, we must always rise again. And there's no one better to help us rise than the people who walk beside us. In those moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, it's your brother who will remind you of who you are. It's your brother who will push you past the pain, past the doubt, and onto the other side where victory waits. And this isn't just about the big moments. It's in the small, everyday moments too. It's in the late-night phone calls, the quiet words of encouragement, the shoulder to lean on when the world feels heavy. That's where true brotherhood shows its power. It's in the everyday commitment to stand together, no matter what life throws your way. It's in knowing that no matter what happens, you're never truly alone. You've got your brother by your side, fighting with you, believing in you, helping you become the best version of yourself. It's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. So make every moment count. Make every second you spend with your brothers a step toward greatness. Because true success is measured not by what you achieve alone, but by how you help those around you rise. Greatness doesn't come from being the best on your own. It comes from lifting others up and, in turn, rising together. No one can climb the mountain of life alone. We all need someone to help pull us up, to push us forward when we're tired, and to cheer us on when the finish line feels too far. There are people in your life who will see your potential, who will push you when you can't push yourself. Those people are your brothers, the ones who don't leave when times get tough, the ones who don't run when things seem impossible. Those are the people who help you see your strength, even when you feel weak. And with them by your side, there is nothing you can't accomplish. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Remember, brotherhood isn't about what you can take, but what you can give. It's about showing up for each other, being there when needed, lifting each other when it's hard. The true measure of your strength is not found in how much you can carry on your own, but in how much you can carry together. Life will throw challenges your way, and some of them will feel insurmountable. But with the right people by your side, there is no challenge too great. So, as you walk through life, never forget the power of brotherhood. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who push you to be better, who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. Remember, true strength lies in unity, in standing together, and in lifting each other higher. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we will break barriers. Together, we will rise. And when you look back on your journey, you won't remember the individual victories. You'll remember the brothers who helped you achieve them. That's the true power of brotherhood. It is everything.